Welcome to Physics 1. I think you're going to enjoy the course, provided you set enough time aside and have enough discipline to stay up with the assignments. This is the number one thing that everybody needs for this course. There's no way to complete the course without putting a lot of time into the course. And by a lot of time, I mean for a Physics 121 course, for a student with a couple of units of high school algebra, that is like Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, Algebra 1 and Geometry, with reasonable aptitude, talking about probably 5 or 6 hours per week outside of class. Recall that this is a 4-credit course with a lab, and that's about what it takes for a typical 4-credit lab science. For Physics 201, which is a more rigorous course, standard course for science curricula, although not for engineering, that generally requires the Physics 241. 201 does work for engineering technology, for the life sciences, for many of the other sciences, physical therapy, etc. At most schools. Check with your school to make sure that I'm telling you correctly, because I don't keep up with the admission standards of all schools. The requirement is more like about 10 hours per week. We figure a 2 for 1 on the lab, on the class. That's about 6 hours of work outside of class. You figure you have 6 hours of class per week and a couple of hours working in labs. Actually, it comes out to more than 10 hours. You can figure that out. You need to set that time aside in your schedule and stay up with the assignments. You also need to communicate with me, the instructor. There's no way that most people are going to complete any of these courses without some help from the instructor. You have in the syllabus, you have in your materials plenty of information on just what I mean by communication, but this means that you need to email me regularly, you need to ask me questions when you have them. If email doesn't take care of your questions, we can set up face-to-face meetings, although I do urge that we start with email. You'll find that I respond to email fairly promptly, often within minutes or hours, almost always within 24 hours, depending, of course, on whether I'm out of town or not. Sometimes I'm out of town and can't respond immediately, but that's a rare occurrence. Almost always I respond fairly quickly. But you need to set up the communications procedures. This is what the first assignments are for, setting up communications, understanding how to communicate via email, how to communicate via the tools that we have at hand right now in the present status of our technology. You'll find that the home page is very complete. You have class notes, you have assignments, you have all the information you need to work on the course, but remember, you still have to communicate with me, and that's my job, to communicate with you on your work. You need to ask questions. I'll give you critiques on your work. I'll often ask for you to resubmit assignments, especially at the beginning. There will be a lot of resubmission until you get used to the communication protocols, what we mean by self-documentation, what we mean by communication. Communication is a very important aspect of this course, and we do want to develop some good communication skills. If you can communicate physics, you can communicate just about anything. Now, you should go to the home page, and you should have the address of the home page from the schedule, from other information that I've given you. Of course, you wouldn't be getting this information if you didn't have that information. You wouldn't be getting the CD and so forth. So you should have by now completed the introductory assignments and some of the introductory experiments. Now in a minute we'll continue with some information on just what to expect of the course, what kind of things, why physics is so interesting, so exciting, and what kind of things you'll be expected to be doing in the course.